Cavecast, the uncensored show for nerds of all kinds.
I didn't really want to put a lot of steam into this one. I kind of wanted it to just to be simple and just for us to kind of just relax and, you know, give the audience a little bit of power, because we do that every now and then, to let them, you know, decide on, you know, what questions that we answer and different things. And sometimes there are some repeats, but there's also some good stuff that's hidden in it. But
right.
But no, it's just we've been kind of in a crazy time. You've been moving, you know, you've been getting stuff at the house prepped, and, you know, just I know on my end I've been doing a lot of, you know, personal projects, things like that. So sometimes, you know, it's not always about having a topic. It's more so just about the conversation, and let's pull the, you know, the layers back a little bit, you know, because not everybody that clicks on the Cavecast knows everything, and, you know, it's kind of like, you know, giving some context and, you know, making sure people understand. So, but yeah, this week is going to be kind of chill. So if you guys are enjoying these types of podcasts, let us know. We're also doing no headphones tonight. I feel a little naked. I feel a little odd.
It's weird.
But I did want to see what it would be like to, you know, if we could have some people over, and it's like, no, let's just sit in front of the mics. So, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that would be different. I think having, because like this is almost like that handicap I have now, speaking of moving, like my setup / non-setup, you know, as far as a studio that I'm doing. So it's basically Meg's laptop at the moment in the sunroom, which is great and fine, but everything I do is through gamer headsets.
Yeah.
Which, again, not a bad thing. It's just the microphone is attached to my mouth. So when I come over here to like cough or like do something,
you're just coughing into the mic.
It just follows me. I can't hear myself talking like I did when I was on normal Twitch, when I was playing video games, or when we were watching reactions in movies and stuff like that. So it really is throwing me off, because I'm still having chill nights where I don't maybe game all night, or because I haven't tried watching a movie yet like that, but listening to music is fucky, dude. Like,
I'd imagine, yeah.
Because I'm always like, is it too loud? They're like, no, it's great. I'm like, but I can't hear myself.
Well, we've been spoiled with the Rodecaster so much, you know, that has been a game changer with everything. I mean, even when we had nothing in the basement and we were using GoPros that overheated, that thing was just the godsend. I mean, it's nuts to think about, because like I go back and it's like, oh my God, we were using micro SDs, and like, you know, we had to like, you know, it was like 2 sets of footage, and now we plug in one hard drive and everything is, you know, all set. So, but no, like that sound quality that you get out of that is just incredible. And it's like essentially an entire audio workstation with so much like that it just hands you. So going to some game headphones, I can imagine it's like almost like being in your underwear a little bit. It's just, it's very out
dude.
there.
Yeah, dude. It was just, it's so, because like I can't control my levels, because it's not only is my voice okay, but is the music okay? Is like the movie okay? Whatever. Game audio and things are a lot different, because I feel like a lot of us have our voice level to where, like, you know, as far as the opposite person that we're playing with, as far as, you know, yelling or talking or something. So the game audio is either non-existent depending on what you're playing, or only when somebody's shooting at you or like coming at you.
Yeah.
So it's like, again, it's weird, because I almost kind of feel like I have that environment where I can kind of hear the outside world or like myself. But dude, when you go into music and it's just noise the whole time, you're like, fuck, what time is it? Am I screaming? What are they hearing? You know, like it's just all this stuff, and I panic. And it's been really interesting the last like 2 weeks. So this right here is just giving me like kind of weird PTSD.
I know it's well, I think it's, you know, again, like I don't think that there's any specific way to do a podcast, because I've heard some people say where it's like, oh, you got to use headphones because it, you know, helps, you know, this and this, and then there's plenty of professional people, like, you know, even like John Bernthal, like when he interviewed Shia LaBeouf, like they were in probably one of the worst places that you could record a podcast, but the audio still sounded great.
Right.
You know, so it's like people were like mowing and doing different things, and, you know, it's just, it's one of those that I've always wanted to experiment with it and see what it's like, just to see, you know, how the conversation translates. So, I mean, which, you know, I'll watch this, or you guys will let us know if, you know, how this is going and how it feels. But no, it is kind of like, we're breaking the rules tonight a little bit, you know, and, Speaking of gaming, though, that's the one thing that I'm really happy that I got to share with you for a little while was the whole like you playing Call of Duty in the other room.
Yeah.
It was for nothing more than the delay that I would hear of just like the muffle scream and that it would come through the fucking headphones. Just every single time was just so amazing. That was like elite living for a little while because it was like almost every night we were doing Call of Duty. But then obviously life changed, but it was really cool. So
it is funny because we did that for probably, that's why I still suck, but like it was the fact we did that for probably like 6 months. And now we were gaming and stuff in between all that as far as like even for the show and whatnot. But yeah, we would pretty much every night we would just from about 8 o'clock until like midnight, we would just sit in that room. And I'd sit in that room and you'd be in the living room. And yeah, you're right. That muffled back and forth. And the thing is that I remember sitting there one night, kind of at the beginning of it going, man, this is really cool. This is really fun. One day this will end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
the party house, well, quote unquote party house. Yeah.
Yeah. And it wasn't even like, because there was two thoughts there where it was like, oh, and it was like, well, it's not a sad thing per se, but it was just one of those where it's like, yeah, I knew then where I was trying to, I've always stated this, guys, and I sound like a broken record, but that whole Andy mentality thing where of like trying to realize I'm in the moment while the moment is happening.
Yeah.
And understand this is not forever. Even if we just didn't play video games forever, it was like, no, this will eventually stop. This is just kind of our thing right now. We both needed that like distraction. Yeah. And I guess even kind of like weird release because Haley always talks about, she's like, why do you guys play these games? Or why do you play, Fortnite and scream and yell? I'm like, because it's relaxing. And she's like, how is this relaxing? I'm like, because we're having fun.
See,
like,
and
it's the truth though.
Well, it's funny because like even like mom came over when I was playing like one of the final levels of Horde mode on Doom Eternal, and she kind of said the same thing. And I'm like, coming from the person that screams at a television whenever her football team loses.
Yeah.
I'm like, why do you watch that? And she was like, oh yeah, I guess so. But it's like, it is very different, because it's that, old style mentality. Cause I don't want to say the B word, but it's like that old style mentality of, it's like, well, why do you watch somebody else play a video game? That's boring. It's like, well, why do you watch football? These other people are playing this game that you see as competitive, that people are winning and
that
losing.
You're not in.
Right. So it's like, and by the way, none of us are physically capable to do anything that these people are doing, but there is something compelling about this is in my hands. Can I unlock this? It's like, can I figure this out? It's like the people that play Doom Eternal where it's like, no, dude, they're like lore accurate, where it's like nothing can touch them. They are just unstoppable the entire time. And that's fascinating, but, I will say that for that entire time, I don't know if we've ever talked about this online, but there is something that did happen while we were playing in the early days of Call of Duty. And there is a gentleman that we found that has completely disappeared, that him and I both actually have had serious conversations of like, dude, was that like a fever dream? Did that even happen?
Legit.
And I know it sounds like it's not that big of a deal, but it fucking is. It's insane.
The only reason I think that it was, again, I'm still saying I think that it was real is because Tinsy and Religion.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Had been, I don't want to say their real names just in case, but were like around for like a brief-ish moment for that person online. Guys, long story short, we were playing Call of Duty, and I the only reason I remember where we were at subwise is because I said something. So somebody we were just like, I think in a random match with actually, and we were just joking and kind of having a good time. And so he was like, well, we'll just add each other and play because we're on it almost every night. So anyways, this dude's name was Lunacris, like ludicrous, but like
Luna.
Yeah. And all of a sudden one day, like almost daily, we'd play with him. I said something about blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We do the YouTube channel. We're at about like 80,000 subs. And he goes, wait, I've been playing with famous people. We're not famous.
No.
But he's like, I've been playing with famous people. And we chuckled and said the same thing. We are not famous. dudettes. 2 days later, gone, done. Not even like he name gone completely from the other two guys we played with that we were like, wait.
Yeah, because
where did this guy go? Kyle and he just vanished. Not like he changed his name or like whatever. Never heard from this motherfucker ever again.
And like we had like decent long conversations with him.
Deeper conversations. And then all of a sudden, poof, his name just vanishes from our friends list.
Well, because I think what rings true, and I like as far as like what jogs my memory about it is that I remember it had been like, I don't know, because it was a nightly thing that we were just doing this because it was like we would get done recording and then it was like, all right, immediately let's jump on.
A solid month we played with this dude.
It was like consistently every day. Then I want to say that there was like maybe a stint of like maybe I was at Rally or like maybe there was like a trip or something where I was like, oh, I can't wait to get back to play with Eric and Ludacris. This is going to be awesome. And I think that I was in the living room and I think you came out and you're like, bro, he's gone. Like, I can't find him. He's like, search his name. We searched the entire thing where it's like, no, like this random guy that was a fellow smoker, fellow like, game lover, fellow movie lover, all this stuff. Like we had like plenty of conversations with. No, just like he just disappeared.
Gone.
And it's so like there's a couple of thoughts is that, oh, like did he, switch up, consoles or something, or like did like he like get rid of his profile or this and this. But it's like there was still a part of me that was like, God, did something happen to him? Like what the fuck? Like it's like is he all right? It was nuts.
Guys, he's not kidding. Like we legit talked about it a few times, and there was things that crossed my mind where you were like, I wonder if he's all right. Like I don't know, but like this is awful to think, but like there was a part of me that was like maybe he had some like terminal illness and just didn't say anything.
Sure, yeah.
And like you were saying, like somebody just got rid of his profile or whatever. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
like that's really odd and like a very far stretch, but like it was that fast and abrupt because you're right. I remember going in, sitting down, and going, wait, where is he? Because it's not only that, like I think what I noticed was he wasn't on my recent players I had played with.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm like, I just played with him 8 hours ago, 12 hours ago. And it like, that was weird to me. And that's when I started looking at his name and I told you and you're like, no. And I came out and I was like, dude, search for him. He is gone. Put an asterisk, put an 84, do something. There's still nothing.
Yeah.
And that's still, you're right. That still fucks with me a little bit to this day.
I think of Ludacris like at least like 2 or 3 times a month. Where
Facts,
like,
dude.
Like it's like whether I pick up a controller or anything like that. But it's, I don't know. It's like that kind of like connection that you have with people that, not everybody in the world gets to share where like, like when you see that picture of, the 2 dudes that are hugging, the one has like his bags from the airport where it says, my dad finally met his friend that he's been playing games with for like 5 years.
Yeah.
And it's like, don't tell me that video games can't connect people.
Or there was one actually where we're getting on the whole video game thing, but like
go for it. Yeah.
But the fact of like where somebody in a group like Call of Duty like passed away.
Yeah.
And nobody had ever met, but like 11 people showed up to this dude's funeral. And that was the same thing. It was like, don't tell me that this shit doesn't bring people together.
Right.
Like, I know that does sound funny, but like legit guys, like it does happen. And this person was one of them. And it was just very odd. It's not like we knew him on a super in-depth level, but it was just the fact of where the fuck did my online friend go?
Yeah.
Like
seriously, yeah.
We had a good thing going. What happened? Like, how did he get grounded? He's a grown man.
There was also a part of me that thought, I was like, shit, did we do something? Like, did we piss him off? Are we blocked? Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, nothing has ever been sent to us. Nothing has ever been said.
Because I thought that too, where it was
like,
nah, man, not for nothing, but I would have been like, Kyle would have been like, I wonder if he took that the wrong way or something. Like, you have more of this, like, when it comes to the both of us, I'm saying, like, more of this, like, well, dude, like, this did happen, or like maybe this was said or something. So for you to even be like, nah, man, nothing out of the ordinary happened. We said the same shit, said the same cuss words, played the same maps. Like, so yeah, but yeah, guys. So that was weird. He is actually right. So that was just, damn, dude. Oh, Luna. Yeah, like I said, I think about him a couple times a month, but just like to say it out loud and like the actual situation, like it is fucky.
Yeah, because it's always one of those that like I forget about him, and then like randomly, like when I reach into a bag of chips, it comes back.
Yeah,
it's like that weird thing, but. Nevertheless, though, so yeah, that's our little story of our Call of Duty endeavors. We met somebody that we are not sure is real. So,
right, dude,
he was completely AI. That's like it
man.
It was a test. It was
just
to
make
make
sure
we were
religion
paying
hurt him, and so I had him on there too. So that's why I know we aren't fucking crazy.
Maybe it's like shared psychosis. Don't
start with me right now. Like, don't just read the fucking question, Kyle.
So, with that being said, let's answer some of your guys' questions. So. Again, guys, a lot of these we have answered before or in some fashion we have. So if we do take them, we'll probably approach it from a different angle or different things like that. But
I think you have it on me.
Yeah. So
no, I think you have the camera on me.
I have it on you. My God.
I think you switched back. My bad.
So sorry, we don't have a Jamie. So, this one was interesting because it's so hard to even think about this question because our entire lives are just YouTube. Or just content creating. But
that's weird to say.
So the first question was, what made you guys decide to become YouTubers? Which we've covered that and beat that to death. But if YouTube didn't exist, what could you see yourselves doing? Nightmare or Rezo, I believe his name is, or their name is. But it says, if YouTube didn't exist, what could you see yourselves doing? And the unfulfilling answer that I would probably give is what we were doing before we ever started.
Right.
Like I don't think that life would have been that different. It's like maybe like I would have picked up, some filmmaking jobs here and there. Like I still would be at Cornwell, doing, the marketing thing. And so like that probably would be like fulfilling enough of like, all right, well, it's like I do have a career in this, so I'm going to go home and my downtime is just my downtime.
Right.
But it's kind of like anxiety filling to even like think about that, where it's kind of like, man, like it's like a world without the stuff we do and the people we've met and the, like it's such an odd way. Like it's almost like asking what's the taste of yellow. Like it kind of almost feels like it doesn't make sense, but it is a valid question. It's just so wild.
I almost look at it in the fact of like in two different ways, where if it didn't exist and or if the channel flops, like what do you do?
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, the generic answer is, well, you do what you always did. You go back to work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I'm not trying to, I'm saying like, I do this full time, and it is because this is basically like a glorified paid hobby that we do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm lucky enough with my situation. I've stated, I beat it to death, but like I always say, like I'm lucky enough in my situation to be able to be full time. Mm-hmm. It's like a part-time job and like a little more. Mm-hmm. Like it's nothing crazy, guys. Again, we split this, but so that being said is that probably still sales. Now, I would still probably try to find some, not an actor, but I think there is something to be said about like the kind of like vlogger mentality or something like that. Like, I don't know. But see, again, if YouTube didn't exist, would vlogging exist? See, so that's where like I don't know how to answer either.
Because my first thought was, I was like, oh, well, I'll just make my scary story. No, that's YouTube. So like it's just,
I guess you're right. So now that I'm thinking about that, no, I wouldn't be able to do that. I would probably still then pursue like maybe trying to be a chef again.
Oh, yeah.
Because that has been something that has been on my mind for many years, or not even a chef, but just getting back into making better food and better gourmet food and learning how to cook things again properly. Like I legit just kind of cook to get by now. I don't have like a good eye for it anymore. And even like seasoning half the time, I'm just like, there's some of this on here and some salt and some garlic. Like I don't, because I don't, it like the fire's gone, but it has been kind of picking back up, and it's like, well, if I can YouTube stuff, I can maybe try to learn how to be a good chef again. But that's probably what I would do. It's like, I was trying to think of like, what hobby would I do?
Right.
Because that's what this is at the end of the day. Like, I'm sorry, guys, YouTube is not hard physically. It is very mentally draining, but this is not hard.
No.
And so, considering it a hobby, I think is what I would say. And then, what would I do for hobbies? And That would definitely be one of them. And I also think through the channel, ironically, but like painting like models, but when I was doing like the vessel mask and
that
stuff.
was so cool.
So I think stuff like that. But it would just be a regular 9-to-5 job as far as an income, though.
Yeah. Well, because I think that the only thing that would even come close to being like, well, this is the next thing I would just put all my eggs in the basket in if I'm not doing video would just be music.
Yeah.
You know, so it's
See,
like,
you play instruments.
right. So, I mean, but it's also that beautiful thing where it's like, I can point and click midis, you know, so it's like, or like do different things like that. So like I've wanted to learn other instruments, but it's kind of like, man, like it took me 15 years to get to where I am with guitar.
Sure.
You know, so it's kind of like, man, do I want to spend like another 15 just to learn the saxophone and then just have 2? Or I can just quote unquote fake my way through it and just like hit some keys, you know, and then different things, you know. So because at least then if it sounds correct, then it's like you have an idea, you know. But yeah,
I get it, man. And like that's right, because I was also gonna say like, oh, shoot music videos, and that's why I bought certain cameras and stuff to start, but that would probably go under YouTube. So I don't know.
I mean, that could probably be a little bit of a gray area, because I think it could be like the idea of like, well, no, I gave it to them to do, you know. It's like, so it's like I gave them the file essentially, because you know, like no matter what, like even if I'm not doing YouTube, I'm still gonna make videos for Forest the Screams whenever Rodney wants me to do one, you know, or different things. Which I mean, it's kind of like, well, I think he's just happy with what I made last year, because he was like, no, this is fantastic, like this is the best one you've ever made. So it's like I saw it run again this year, so I'm like, oh, I guess this must be my year off.
Nice.
You know?
Okay,
so,
cool.
You know, but again, it's just always looking for those opportunities. Like I know that film has always been on my mind, even when I wasn't doing YouTube, where it was like, YouTube was essentially just a place that I could put things. You know,
I also think it was a place where you learned as well, but you're right, where you put the stuff to where people could kind of give some feedback. But you've always been like attracted to like filmmaking and things like that. So 100% I would be like, well, you'd be the next fucking Steven Spielberg or something like that. You know what I mean?
Well, the only form of filmmaking that I will never touch, and it's because of like when you look at Corpse Bride and you look at Nightmare Before Christmas, where like stop motion animation, absolutely not. Like I want nothing to do with that art form. I love watching it, and I love having anxiety the entire time that I watch it, because it's like, oh my god, it took 10 years to make this one film or whatever. Because I've heard, and I don't know if it's true, but it was that I heard somebody say that the second that he was done with Nightmare Before Christmas, that he immediately began production on Corpse Bride. And then it took that long. So it's like another team was working on this the entire time while he was doing like Planet of the Apes and like all these other films. And he just had to like check back in and hope that his vision was like held intact, or like, or weekly visits or things like that. Like the amount of dedication that Tim Burton has is ridiculous. And it shows in his work. It's just so wild. But yeah, I mean, it's a fun spectacle to look at, but that's like the only like hard out that I have, where I'm like, nope. I'm like, I will voice act in one or something, and I'll wait 15 years to see it. But it's that type of thing. So,
but no, I think that's just, I've always seen that where you played your instruments and you wanted to make film. So definitely I knew that was going to be probably your answer.
Yeah. So Ombre actually has a really interesting question, which, I mean, we've kind of like touched on this before, but I think that this is a question I think that you and I are more equipped to answer now, given, the situation for both of us, which is fantastic. But Ombre wants to know, what is the most important thing in a relationship for you two? I will just say this. I'm not going to use this as a time to like shit on exes and different things like that. But I think that for me, the thing that I've learned, with everything that has happened in my life, is that safety, being safe in my partner. Feeling like, because it's like that whole thing where you have your friends that are like, no man, me and my girl can talk about anything, like we talk about everything, and it's like, okay, but like, how are the conversations? It's like, how does this actually go? Like, is this a place that you genuinely have that you have peace in? And that's, to me, like, I mean, there's many important things that I think that a relationship needs, but dude, like safety, feeling like that you can genuinely be around this person. Like your ass doesn't clench when they pull in the driveway when they get home. Like you're excited to see them. It's, you know, the fact that like having a bad day doesn't reflect on the view and opinion that you have of each other. Like those types of things. But so for me, I would definitely say safety. That's the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, I think so. I think more so it might fall under the same, I guess, category, but it's I would say communication, but obviously that's key. But like it's like communication and a stress-free environment. And now everybody's going to have stress and fights and things like that. Like healthy relationships, you do have, you know, misunderstandings or arguments or whatever. But, you know, I think it is that fact of, like you said, like being able to unclench and having that safe environment to come home to. I just know that when I was in past relationships, it wasn't even home that wasn't stress-free. It was everything.
Right.
It was when I was home. It was when I wasn't home. I had to check my phone constantly. And then even if my phone wasn't going off, then that was also a problem. Mm-hmm. So it's, again, that whole communication as well. So like, I know, like I said, that's a cheap cop out, but like.
Oh, but it's so damn true.
It is. It's just the fact of knowing what a healthy relationship looks like seems so odd. And it seems so odd because we were in not good ones. I'm just, you're right. I'm not trying to shit on exes, and I'm trying to be careful how I say things.
Yeah.
But I think it's very confusing, and it's almost off-putting at first because you're like, this isn't right. Mm-hmm. So, and also having somebody that truly backs what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, when again, not trying to shit on exes, but having Meg be the person and my person that I'm with has never been an issue, even when we lived apart, in the fact of I need to record, or I can't come over this day, or I need to go back to Kyle's house again today. That is never an issue. And it is because she knows that this is my, hobby, and also something that I love doing, and that is my job that I get paid for.
Yeah.
So all three of those factors come into play. With other people, it wouldn't have mattered.
No.
The only one that actually does matter and that she is fine with is the fact that I enjoy doing it. Mm-hmm. So her backing me the whole time. Now, if it were just I enjoy doing it, but I was still just taking 10 hours a day away and never hanging out with the family, okay, sure.
Right.
Maybe there's a little bit of a different story there. But first of all, I'm not doing that. And second of all, it's more than that. Mm-hmm. She sees the visions. She also enjoys the vision on top of it.
She is just a godsend.
She really is
with that, dude.
So it's just the fact of you don't have to agree on everything that your partner does or love everything that your partner does and has their hobby or whatever. But being in their corner for it and allowing them to have their safe space, as you were saying, with it is also huge, because it's how we decompress. Mm-hmm. So if you can't understand how somebody decompresses, there is a problem there. Mm-hmm. I know that she does the same thing, even though it's stressful, with her cookies. Mm-hmm. I don't get mad that she's been doing cookies for 8 hours on a Saturday. She's got a big order. She got paid, and this is her hobby.
Yeah.
I now can either be like, well, just like tonight, I know she's got the next 3 days worth of cookies to do. I know that I don't have to feel bad going home and playing on Twitch, even though I was going to anyways.
Dude,
but it's also that buffer zone.
Well, especially too, is like being able to have somebody that has their own life, which I know that sounds contradictory, because it's like, no, like you are sharing your life with somebody when you're with them. But, you know, it's, you know, from the experiences I've had and everything, I mean, you know, it's the, you know, one of my favorite things about Crystal was the, you know, like when we were just friends and talking, was that, you know, phone anxiety, you know, was a big thing for both of us from the situations we were in. And you know, it was that moment that you and I had gotten into kitchen talk. We were talking pretty late, and I saw that she had asked me a question. So I realized it was like 2 hours later, and I like immediately like went right back, even though I wasn't even with her at that time.
Sure.
It rocketed me back. I was, you know, like I was just like, oh my God, I need to apologize, this and this.
Yep.
And I sent off the message and set it down and kind of like sat there and just kind of shook for a minute, because I was like, oh my God, like what bomb is going to come through?
Yep.
You know, and it's again, like, and it's happened with friends, it's happened with family, it's happened like all around, where like every notification that I got on my phone was a nightmare in some way or another, that it was connected to something, because, you know, all the problems that were close to me just did nothing but just explode out to everybody else when they shouldn't have in the first place. And the response I got from her was, "Why are you apologizing to me for talking to your brother?"
Right.
And she was like, "I will be here. Do your thing.
Yep.
And whenever you're done, we'll talk." And it like that is something that has stayed consistent, and that, you know, it's like there are plenty of nights that it's like, no, I know for a fact that I could work till 1 a.m. I've done it. I've done it plenty of times. But my apprehension of, one of the many apprehensions I had of, you know, having a relationship again was that I couldn't conceive a world where I could be a content creator and be successful while having somebody, because it was like one always had to be sacrificed over the other.
That's what I was saying. Exactly.
Yeah. So it's just nuts that it's like, you know, being with her and just how amazing it is, but also the fact that it's like, no, I do work a lot, but it stops to a point.
Correct.
It's kind of like, no, like actually it's 9:30. I've got about 20 more minutes to lock in everything I know for a fact that I'm not going to sleep over, because it's going to be on my mind. After that, I am done.
Yep.
I'm going to just unplug from it until tomorrow. This will be here tomorrow whenever I wake up.
100%.
You know, and
there is a line.
It's like that balance that was kind of found, where it's like, man, like, you know, I was the type of person that it's like when I was with somebody where it was like everything else just stopped, because my full attention was on that. And it's like, you know,
that can't happen, man.
No, it's completely unhealthy. It's nonsense. Like you can't live a life like that. And you know, and it's why looking at people like Corey Taylor, where it's like he's got 3 kids and 2 bands and an ex-wife and a wife now, and like, you know, like is trying to write a movie, or at the time was like with like all this, like he was randomly in Sharknado at one point, like during one of the sequels. Like a part of me was like, God, this guy has to be such an unhappy motherfucker. And it's because I couldn't get it because of everything I went through, you know. And it was just like, damn, like I am in such a good place. Yeah. And that's the
weird
part, like, where like, again, like that odd approach to it, where it's kind of like, no, what do you really think? It's like, I really think that you should go do this because you love it. And it's kind of like that. It's, you know, the fault that
that's
I had
not
for
real.
the fault of my side was kind of like, no, what are you planning? You know, it's like that would be like my inner, like, you know, demon thought, if you will. But it's like, no, like I have no reason to feel that way. There is nothing here that is even remotely close to that. And, you know, and seeing it in Meg too, like, I mean, the fact that, you know, she joined in, you know, not joined in, but like she became a part of, you know, your life at a point where like YouTube was taking off, but it wasn't
nowhere near.
Like we're about to hit 300,000 subs, which is really fucking weird. Where like it still doesn't feel real. Like Lori even posted something today where it's like, hey, I just checked it. You're at 280. Like, you know, rock on, keep going. And it's like, holy shit. So, you know, it's especially in Meg's situation where it was like, no, like I'm going to believe in you, even though I don't have the evidence for what's to come. And
you're right.
And that's just, it's great. So I think that, you know, the stuff that we look for in people is like, well, no, we already have it. We like it. This is the wonderful thing. Like, this is how it works. This is how this should feel. This is
exactly.
You know, it's odd that, you know, it's that not being depressed is the thing that feels weird, you know, like,
man,
that joke of like, man, I didn't know a relationship was supposed to make you feel better. You know, it's, I didn't understand that, you know, but it's just, it's something that I think a lot of people lose sight on because they get locked into relationships for wrong reasons, whether it's, you know, an attraction that, you know, is, you know, surface level, or if it's but we like the same things. And it's like, I bet you do, but do you work past that?
Yeah, right.
Like, it's like when you know, it's like when D&D is no longer talked about, or whenever, you know, Spider-Man's no longer talked about, or when movies are no longer
what
a
do you
subject.
do in the silence?
Like can you just be with this person?
Yeah, right.
You know, and also can you be alone together with this person? Like that's the stuff I think that is just aggressively important.
100%, man.
It's just wild. But
so that's what I'm saying. Sorry for the long drawn out to where it's like stress free home and, you know, back your other person, you know. So, but no, definitely.
Let's see. Cyclonix wants to know, and I don't think we necessarily need to get very heavy with this, because I know that what comes to my mind isn't something that is really that intense. But he wants to know, what is your biggest regret and why do you regret it? And mine, like, I'm kind of odd when people ask me that question, because I'm very much in the mentality of that. No, man, things happen for a reason. You know,
Sure.
like I think that it's much easier for the two of us to have that perspective now because of, you know, the real ways that we can physically touch and look at and talk about how we have been blessed. Where it's like, you know what? 3 years ago, I probably would have said, oh, I regret, you know, this. I regret this person. I regret this, you know, this job I took as a side thing. I regret, you know, doing this project, this, and this. And it's like, no, like interacting with people in any sense is like, I don't really have that mentality of like, God, I wish I never met this person, or like this is this. I know I have a very unique, you know, perspective of that, but mine are kind of, I don't know, like in the grand scheme of things, they're very light. It's, you know, the regrets of like, man, like I wish I was as financially responsible now, like, you know, like, but like doing it at 18.
Sure.
And like,
I get
you know, not having that,
Facts,
you know,
dude.
that teenage, you know, young adult mind of like, oh, I'm working at, you know, Taco Bell. I've got $700, or it's like, I'm going to go do this and this with it. And it's like, well, no, like that $700 is going to disappear really quickly. Like you're living at home and like, you're not like you haven't even owned your own place yet.
Right.
You know, and it's like being able to take that knowledge that I have and, you know, like being able to give it to my younger self and kind of being like that, you know, Matrix upload of kind of being like, all right, taking all this info, what are you going to do? I am going to save my money. Good. Quit cigarettes too. Like, you know, it's like, it's kind of like things like that. I do in a way, I regret, not, diving more into like 3D software and learning how to model like different things and like, you know, creating my own stuff. Like, but again, like that's, you know, just taking my talents and abilities and just I put them completely in one place, you know, but I would say like that's kind of like where mine are at. And like, I'm sure like I probably could get more serious if I dig deeper, but like that's really kind of like what approaches me in my mind when I think that is like, it's, you know, financial, and it's kind of like, what, money? Yeah. Like, I wish I would have taken care of myself. I wish I would have not put myself in debt the way that I did and had to like climb myself out of it, you know, and there were many factors into that. But yeah, I would say that those would have to be at least my regret or regrets, you know, and that's why. Yeah,
I agree with that one as well, because I was like, you know, I would say most people would probably think that. So I agree. But then also to follow that is not go to college.
Oh yeah.
And dude, and it's because of the fact of, number one, I didn't even finish. Number two, the people I knew don't even use the same degree. I went to the Le Cordon Bleu Culinary Arts School, guys. And, you know, it's just like that put me in debt, like you were saying, and back for so long and everything. But honestly, another one too is kind of relationship based, where it's like, I regret not leaving sooner.
Sure.
And finding that like, I guess self-worth, but I don't mean it like that. It was just the fact of not having to live like that. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm working really hard, harder still, on stress-free and very, you know, not trying to have meltdowns constantly and just, you know, getting upset over stupid things. But like, yeah, you have emotions. People have raw emotions, and I understand that. Mm-hmm. It was just, I was this other person for so long, and just anxiety ridden and stress and just full of piss and vinegar. And dude, I hate it. Dude, I hate it. I hate it when I have to get loud anymore. I hate it when something just, when it's like that one thing and you're like, oh,
yeah,
And it's, I hate it, man. And that is where it's just the fact of, I really want to try edibles again and how to work it, because I want to find, hoping that it just like coasts me through the day, like, and just keeping me calm.
Mm-hmm.
But it's because of that factor of, I lived like that for so long with a couple of my exes. And it's like, why? Mm-hmm. Look at how long I've wasted. I'm 41 years old now. And I wasted 15 years being mad or stressed out or just a knot in my stomach, legit waking up, having the dry heaves or throwing up every morning.
See, that was the thing that really, I don't want to say like made me worry, because like, I think it was mainly only like the first couple of times that I was around you, like when it happened, because like I think it was more consistently when you had like moved in.
Okay.
When I would either like come upstairs like to get coffee or something, and I would either hear you, or like whether or not you were being loud in the moment because it was more intense that morning, or if it was I heard you going to the restroom. It was like, oh my God, I'm like, every fucking day,
every day.
And when you told me that it stopped. And I think it was a mixture of things. I think it was, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was diet. And then it was also your stress, your depression, like all that stuff. Like, it was like those things, like maybe if one or two things didn't go away, they were alleviated so much that it was kind of like, whoa, like these muscles aren't clenched anymore. Like, and I know like, from my perspective was that like, I'm terrified of throwing up. And so it's like to see that you just powered through it and just did it.
And then I would go to work and then I would do whatever. Like,
like, dude, like it's, I mean, our stress manifested in very different ways for us during those times, but that was something that was like clockwork every single day for you.
Every day.
It's just, that was, it literally felt like a miracle when you talked about it, that it stopped, where like I think I even looked at you and I'm like, how do you feel? You know, it's like,
good. I feel great.
Right. And it's you know, it's
so that's what I'm saying. That's a huge regret. Like it's a cliche cop out, but it's the fact of, as a person, how I feel.
Yeah.
You know, on all aspects, not even just my stomach and stuff, but like the irony behind that as well, where it's like not only my mental, but my physical is a lot different. You know, I made the decision to go on a diet and stuff as well to lose some weight, but it was a lot of, like I said, stress and just like weird PTSD. So like, I did that to myself and just I couldn't let go, you know, and it was because I didn't have enough self-worth to realize it. Not that I was, you know, an angel throughout it all, but like that I wasn't the problem. You know what I mean? Like fully. So, yep, that's definitely one of them.
Well, I think it's also the perspective of that when you're so deep in something like that, that it is very hard to like even, it's very hard to even think of an escape route. And like how can I do this in a way that it's not going to ruin everything that's like it's not going to ruin everything around me, and especially the mentality of like, I don't want to start over. Like, I don't want to be in the situation of, you know, trying to get comfortable farting around somebody again.
Right.
You know, or like it's, you know, which I mean, in the end, those things are trivial, but like in that moment, like those are make or breaks. Like the moment you're about to pack your bags before anybody knows it and walk out, and then you have that, all right. And then you just stay, you know, it's, I know that getting you out of the environment and bringing you here was something that, like, again, like, even though like this place had its own problems too at the time, but like, dude, like it was a lot different, dude. To me, it's one of those that like, at least to get the place that you place your head at night. Like, it's like, if that is the only reprieve that you have of like, no, you can come out and bitch to me about what's going on and, you know, get louder, like get that venom out and or whatever. Cause we both have done it. You know, there's been plenty of times where it's like, no, dude, I need to get this out in an environment that it is safe. And going back to that safety thing, you know, and like, it's just, I don't know, like I'm very proud of where you are, just because I know for a fact that was no easy feat in any way. to deal with anything that you dealt with. And like, it's just the fact that not even the fact of that you've lost weight is like, but like, it's like the physical change that has happened in you. And to this day, people still freak out and think that you're dying, which I think is just hysterical. Because it's like, people are like, oh my God, like I just watched one of the new reactions. Eric, are you okay? He is one of the happiest motherfuckers on the planet. Like, he is just doing his thing, enjoying it. Like, I mean, you make a statement right now. Are you sick or dying?
No, I'm just on meth. No, I'm just kidding. No.
Oh my God.
No. And that's always the big joke where it's like diet, no meth. No, just no. And again, I've stated before, guys. I know it's because of my face. I was very puffy and stuff because a lot of sodium and beer. I still drink beer. I just count my calories. But it's just you're right. Like I would have, and I also would have never probably done that in the other relationships either on how I conduct myself on a daily and my eating habits and things because. It's just you didn't care. You didn't care about yourself on top of everything else.
No.
So that also goes with your mental, and it's like, it's a lot to process. So,
well, I can definitely say that during that time was that, even though, the laws were not the same as they are now, like that was a very big time for both of us that it was like, no, we medicated constantly. We dealt. We got through it.
It's how I functioned.
Yeah.
Now I use it to function in a different way.
Right.
It's very much a similar but very different environment on why I use it for a daily, all day use. Yeah. It's wild to think that way.
It's like I would much rather you have it to, it's like not to say that it isn't still. Excuse me, not that it isn't still medicinal, but it's kind of like, man, I'd much rather know that you're just giggly today. Like,
right.
And it put you in that state of mind. Like that's
other than hungover and pissed off.
Right. And I think that was the other thing that really, like I know for myself where it was like I had to stop and think to myself, man, when was the last time I woke up and I wasn't hungover? And that's you and I've kind of like talked about it off the channel, but it was like, cause we both have made, different changes in our personal days. Like, sorry guys, there isn't just massive cups around here just filled with beer all the time. That is a facade. That is a show thing. Like it's done for the giggles, but also it's because it's like, no, dude, you just find great cups, but I know that there was a time that I think I actually said it out loud to somebody where they were like, yeah, like I can't stand waking up being hungover, and I think my internal response was, at least at first, was I don't remember what it's like to wake up sober. And that was something that kind of like put me in a place of like, damn, like, do I have a problem? Right. And what I can say with confidence is that it's like, no, like I still partake every now and then, but like the difference now is that I'm not slamming 3 8% tall boys every single night.
Right, dude.
And that was because I know the one night that I did 4, I'm like, I don't know how the fuck I'm even standing right now. That was the one time I was night. Like, yeah, that was a
still married situation. Yeah.
And
that's where it's like, I get it, man. I'm the same way. Like I still do this situation as well, where it's like, all right, I'm not going to have beers tonight while I play on Twitch or whatever.
Yep. California sober. Yep.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's the same situation where no, I'm not slamming, all of these beers or a 12-pack every night or 3 8%ers. And like, dude, no, it's a very different environment. I'm drinking to socially interact with my significant other because I'm having a good time. I'm not slamming 3 fucking Bud Ices in the garage to get away from the situation I'm at. Like very different stress release and environment for that. And it's like, no, you don't need it as much, because when you realize you're doing it so much, you're like, well, why am I? Right. I don't need that numbness to take over. Yeah. I don't need to be bulletproof tonight. Oh, God, yeah. Like it's just one of those where it's like, when you're drunk, you don't give a shit. No. And it's like, at least I was one of those where it's like, just say whatever you want then, like, whatever, or like, you just like, all right, whatever. Then I guess you're not talking to me. So cool. Now I get to watch Two Lit Mafia, react to this song and then listen to Upchurch. And so like, that was just what it was. And the liquid courage, I do enjoy a lot of my nights when I just fucking blow joints all night and fucking play video games. But, sometimes you fall into old habits, and I've thought that too. Do I have a problem? Do I shake when I don't drink? And the answer is no.
Right.
But thank God.
Well, I know that I was kind of in the place that I knew that because I think it was like something random, like a Tuesday or a Wednesday or something. And it was like 9:00 at night. And my first thought was, I need a drink. And I came home with the mentality of that, like, no, I'm not going to stop and get anything. I'm going to go straight home. I'm going to have my medicine. I'm just going to do my night. And that was kind of the time that I was like, no, I need to say no. Like, I thought this is like my last, like my last moment of like, if I keep going, then this is going to become a problem. This is going to
be a problem.
You know, and I tested it too, because there would be like times that either I would, you know, go on work trips where it's like, no, I'm sorry, I can't slam that much alcohol or whatever while I'm out doing my thing. But it was a testament to, like, you know, I don't know whether or not you want to call it divine, you know, protection over us, or if it was just like we just didn't do it enough. Weirdly, you know, that it's like we weren't waking up and immediately cracking one or different things, which that was kind
I've had days where I've done day drinking, you know, occasionally, but that's different.
Right. And it's, well, because it's, as I've said before, like the only time that I ever did like drink from when the sun went or sun came up and when it went down was at a bachelor party.
Sure.
You know, so, but even
rightfully so.
And with that, I hated my entire life at that point, where I was like, oh my God, this is awful, you know, so, but no, like it was a time that I knew that I needed to assess myself. And, you know, I talked about it, you know, to the people that are closest to me, and was like, look, you know, this is where I'm at. Like, I need to reel this in and, you know, like make sure that I am, you know, keeping myself in the way of like, man, like, I don't want to be on a video call with Crystal and not be able to talk or be falling asleep with that. Like, it's like, because I mean, I had gotten myself to a good place even before then, but it was just like that mentality of like, God, like if something happens, like, and I can't drive, like,
dude,
I am at home and I have to sit here on this couch and just sink into it because I'm so wasted.
Correct.
And, you know, and it's, you know,
I get you, man.
Like, it's, you know, 2 a.m., you know, waking up, rolling over, seeing that the can is still there, and then, like, you know, taking it down. Like, you know, it's like there were moments of that, but there was very much like deep in my depression while that was going on.
100%.
You know, and I don't know, like it was like when the whole 8%ers stopped, like that was kind of like what I used to help myself, was that it's like, well, no, you're not drinking Ice House Edges anymore. And it's like, well, no, number one, no one needs to fucking drink those. Like, they're just so intense. But but it was that whole
idea.
I
introduced him to those.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, they're great. Like, if you want to have one and buzz the entire night or just get wasted, I mean, go for it. But in the same hand was that it was just like, man, like 5:30, the first one would get cracked.
Right.
You know, and it's because it was like, no, I'm going to clean the house. And it's like, the weird thing was that I was always productive. And I never understood that. Well, I should be dead right now, like dead tired, but I'm not, you know?
That was the thing, is you were from the whole situation of, you know, being single and whatnot, and that PTSD, that's what you did. And in your mind, it wasn't a big deal. You're being productive. So how bad is the alcohol? Like, dude, I've done the same shit too. That's why I said, thank God I don't shake, and thank God I don't get like, well, I need to have a beer. Like, that was, like you said, I wondered, because it's not like I crave it, but it was just inadvertently, I'm playing video games, or I'm playing online, or I'm doing this, or now I'm on live. Like, that's what you do. That's what you did. That's what I do. Like, and it was never like, oh, I need to fuck beer. Like, that's not what it was. But also, it would still go through my mind of, like you were saying, like a video call, like I can get drunk on camera, but I still have to function, turn my camera off, talk to the audience, read things. So still having a lot of control is very much key for me. And it being where it's like the excuse where it's like, well, I can still do this. Well, yeah, you dumb shit, you can.
It's like, but do you need to?
But do you need to?
Right.
And that's the thing where it's like, no, I can just sit here and hang out and have my water, or I do it in the morning on coffee time. Why can't I do that now? And it's like, well, it's because I'm smoking, but it's the same thing where it's like, well, do I need that? Yeah, I do. How about that? Yeah, I do. Because if not, I'm going to flip the fuck out more. But no.
Go make me a sandwich, and if you put mayo on it, I'm going to freak out.
But no, it's just one of those where I get it. And it's, again, I think it stems back from that, like the regrets it is that fact of the regretting on not changing and doing things sooner, because it does directly affect everything that we do day to day. Yeah. And that also, I think, hits our liver. Mm-hmm. So, you know.
Well, I think that it's what I'm really happy about for the both of us is that just in a kind of in a way like that's to kind of wrap this up is that, man, like, we're both in a much healthier position in every way.
Yep.
You know, than where we were. Like, it's like, can everybody improve? Absolutely.
Of course.
But in the same hand is that it's nice to know that it's like, I don't have to go home and escape. I can go home and be home.
Correct.
And that is
you can drink to be social with your significant other.
Exactly. Like, that's like, it is such a liberating thing where I'm just like, oh my God, like I can be in my space and it's like I can just be. Mm-hmm. I can just do this. It's like, you know, even like the nights I'm quote unquote supposed to be working where it's like I kind of want to play some games. I think I'm going to do that instead. But it's like I have the cohesive ability to walk up the steps and sit on the couch and do that. You know, and it's like that's the thing that is just so wonderful is that it's like feeling safe no matter what I'm doing, you know, and that, and I'm overjoyed with it. And it's, you know, much like, you know, like you moving out and like you meeting Meg and like all those things where it was like, man, like I know that for me selfishly is that I'm just happy that I don't have to worry about my brother. Like, I don't need to be like, oh my God, is he okay? Like, you know, like he's more irritable today. Is it because of this? It's like, no, because he had a bad fucking day. It's not because his relationship is falling apart. Like, and that's the stuff where it's like I love seeing that because there's even been times where like I've had my moments and it's like, I think I've looked at you and I'm like, nothing's even wrong. Like today was a fantastic day. Like, you know, but you
still don't know why.
Yeah. And it's just that it's like, why are you angry? I just feel like I need to be, you know, it's like, this is my cycle. And like, I know like, even like, you know, being at home like that was a whole situation where like I had to prepare myself for whatever emotional situation was going to have, whether it was of my own doing or someone else's.
Sure.
You know, and it's just very odd. Like even like the couple of times, like, you know, that we've gone like, I don't know, like it could be like a couple of hours, like, you know, like when you were here, like then I would come upstairs and you'd be here and it's like, we're not fighting. Like, it's like not that you and I have ever fought like that. But it was kind of like,
I know what you mean where it's like, oh, hey, what's up?
Yeah. It's, hey, yeah. I'm good. Are you good? All right, cool. Yeah. All right, sweet. Let's do this. You know, and it's like, it messes with your psyche so much, you know, and it's just, it's really wonderful to have that double take into a fucking fantasy that you've had that you didn't think was ever possible. That is just the life that you're living, you know, and it's not even a perfect life. It's a life. It's a normal life.
Right.
And that's something that I am overjoyed that we finally have.
100%, man.
And it's just, I'm gonna stay here. I'm like, I'm you know, I'm
gonna stay here for a little while.
Yeah, you know, I'm just gonna enjoy everything that's happening and just embrace everything with, you know, the tightest grip that I possibly can, man. Like, it's just, it's really, really wonderful. Yeah. So, but nevertheless, guys, this was a kind of a chill, you know, questions episode. So we'll definitely be doing more question stuff down the road or pick back into these in future episodes. But if you guys have any questions that you'd like us to answer, make sure you comment them below and let us know. And as always, Eric, is there anything you would like to tell them before we sign off until next week?
YouTube's copyright sucks. Cheers.
Yes, it does. We'll talk to you guys next week. Adios.